Yo, what's up guys, Shujinkydink here, and welcome to a video all about frame data. This is part 2 of our frame data series. I wanted to wait a little bit for the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, link's going to be up here, go watch that first. This is probably some of the most important stuff in the game. This is the more advanced stuff that we're going over today, so we're going to do active frames, recovery frames, and cancel advantage. Starting with active frames, you see on the screen here, this move is standing for 2 active frames, 21 recovery. So active frames just tell you how many frames this attack can actually hit your opponent. So that during this whole animation, there's only, if I whiff it, 2 active frames. I don't know why it changes when I hit him. I assume because it just stops being active after you hit him. That makes sense to me. So pretty straightforward. Chop Chops, for example, it was active for 40 frames, so I could just do it short. Then it was only active for 21 frames. See, recovery stays the same once you do it. This little frame data thing, super handy. I'm really glad that they put it into the game. It really helps me calculate a lot of stuff a lot more easy. I do find some inconsistencies though between that and what's listed in the moves list, but I've just kind of been going with this because it seems to make sense to me. So yeah, active frames, how many frames a move can actually hit your opponent. Recovery frames, this is how many frames it takes for you to be able to block after using attack. So if I whiff standing 1, 18 frames until I can recover a block. Hold a block like instantly afterwards. Standing 4, 21 frames. So the reason this one's important is if you have some moves that you just kind of want to throw out just to see, like, catch your opponent kind of coming in, the lower the recovery frames can kind of tell you whether it's a good move to just kind of, or fairly safe to throw out, you know? Something like that, 33 recovery frames, a little bit slower, you know, obviously it's an advancing move, but there's more opportunity there for your opponent to whiff punish you. So just keep that in mind, active and recovery. Now cancel advantage is also a super important one because that will tell us where gaps and strings are and stuff, and I have my good friend Liu Kang here to show us that. So this is where it gets kind of complicated. So that's not the move I want to do. Let's go record. So if we block this move, that move has 14 cancel advantage. He's got one more move he can do after that. That move is switching over to Liu Kang. And where's the string? That move is up 3. So up 3 startup is 26 frames. So technically, you're canceling this string into the next hit. So cancel advantage is 14 on. See, this is an inconsistency. It's 14 on the when you actually do the move. It says 20 on here. I'm going by 14 because that seems more accurate. Still like a couple frames off, but that's okay. Anyways, the important thing is we look at the startup of this frame. So the startup of this is 26. So 26 startup. So 14 cancel advantage. So there is a gap there of approximately 12 frames. So that indicates to me that we can poke or do something quick in between that gap. So I'm going to try and do that and see if my my thoughts were correct. I've got to record him doing that. So that's a 7-frame move. You can also do that if you want, but you don't really need to. Because I looked at the cancel advantage being 14, I looked at the startup of the other move. I knew I was able to do a quick move in between, so that's how you find gaps. So if someone's doing a string, most of the strings in this game that are like have some sort of advantage, like Baraka's one there, I believe it's +1 on block, there's a gap in it. So you can look at the cancel advantage and the startup of the following move to see exactly how much of a gap there is. Is flawless blocking the only option, or can I actually get a poke out? So taking Liu Kang again in our next example, let's say he decides not to do that and he's going to go into a special move. So instead of doing the up 3, he cancels it into the low fireball, which is a 20 frame startup as opposed to a 26 frame startup. So now our 12 frame gap has closed down to a 6 frame gap, and we cannot poke in that gap anymore, unfortunately. Very, very sad. Very, very sad day. So there is a example of how Liu Kang can take a string with a gap and eliminate it. However, you're doing it with a -15 move, unless you amplify it, and then you're -7. So you're eliminating the gap but making yourself unsafe. So you have to kind of weigh out those positive and negatives and maybe try it out. Maybe your opponent isn't punishing the low fireball. So, I mean, just keep doing it. Why not? I would. No gap there, no punish. I mean, you're living the dream, man. Right? I don't know. So that's basically it. So the active frames, recovery frames, and the cancel advantage. So yeah, just make sure that you use your cancel advantage. Like I mentioned, if someone's using a really strong string against you, chances are there's probably a gap there that you can abuse. So I hope I wasn't a little bit too rambly in this, and I hope it made sense. Of course, if you have any questions, post them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to reiterate, or if you think I missed something, I can do that as well. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, because it really helps me out, and subscribe, because we make new videos every single day. Hashtag Big Dink Energy. And I'll see all you guys next video.